Resident idiot. Stupid headphone show on the by directors. Gary said it had fried.
Welcome back to the Director's Garage. I am your host and resident idiot, Michael, and today, folks, well, I got the blues, people. CanJam SoCal is over. Another year's in the books. Well, today we're going to be taking a wacky journey through my time at CanJam. A bunch of you came up while I was there, and you tapped me on the shoulder, and a few of you just called out, "Hey, idiot!" Well,
stupid idiot.
I can't say I blame you, but for me, the show was beset with both pure spectacle and tragedy. Like a slow motion replay of my Chicago White Sox season. Well, let's get it on.
Driving back to SoCal, got no money low. Headed back from SoCal, ain't no money low. I got the knockdown brag out CanJam over blue.
So guys, I had some specific targets in mind for this show, and the second I got in, I made a beeline for the Audeze station because of this. A brand new Carbon 2. Or do you say Kerbin?
Please.
Well, this headphone's going to be hotter than my temper on the 405 during rush hour. This is Audeze's first flagship class release in a long time. We've had more sightings of Leonardo DiCaprio's career than we have new flagship Audeze's in the past few years. Well, at least since Sony bought the company. Now, the new headphone has some new technology called SLAM, which I'm sure someone said, well, these kind of have more bass. Let's say it's because of something called SLAM. So they got out their audiophile dictionaries and they came up with, are you ready for it? Symmetrical Linear Acoustic Modulator.
Help?
Oh, those marketing guys. Well, whatever it is, there is indeed a SLAM-like effect on the new Carbon 2, and it's better than any other electrostatic headphone I've heard. But is it really slammy, like Bad Bunny at Coachella slammy? Well, it's more like Slam Light or Slight. Think more Willie Nelson at Stagecoach. But
Okay.
To hear an E-Stat create fun and moving bass, take my money now, guys. And it still has the impressive speed and detail that only an E-Stat can bring. Now, two pieces of news came from this experience. First, they're gonna be $6,000, folks, which is like 60 depressing copies of the DSD-sourced vinyl ultradisc of Mobile Fidelity's Thriller. But there is an upgrade path for early adopters of the original Carbon, which is genius. Count me in, and it's only $1,000. That's fabulous. But I do think you have to be an early adopter to get this upgrade. Check with Audeze before you get the idea of going out and picking up a used Carbon 1 and then upgrading. But the better conversation was about Audeze as a company, and it just might wipe these CanJam blues away. All right, so ever since Audeze was acquired by Sony, the new headphones they've been coming out with have been decidedly in that prosumer and consumer lane, and that kind of makes sense to me. Sony wants better sounding headphones for their PlayStation and consumer products, so they buy a great headphone maker and they want affordable models like the Maxwell. I assumed this was all Sony's doing. But I learned from the Audeze reps that this couldn't be further from reality. The rep told me that Sony has been surprisingly hands-off with their company since the purchase. They're treating Audeze kind of like Hollywood superstars are treating Diddy right about now. I thought I'd get through that without cracking up. Okay, well, it turns out the Carbon 2 has been in development for quite a while, but my favorite bit of news, and this is a teaser, Audeze plans another flagship release sometime in 2025. LCD6, anyone? Well, the Audeze reps wouldn't confirm the specifics, but I was assured that Audeze is not done playing in the deep end of the pool. And there will also be several mid-tier products out next year as well. So, welcome back, Audeze. Boy, we've missed you. As long as it was this early, I thought, This is the year, folks. I'm finally getting in that Warwick acoustic cone of silence. It's a plexiglass version of a hyperbaric chamber. It's supposed to be this soundproof booth where you can check out their new Imperio Golden Sound Edition in an audiophile Garden of Eden. Well, this early, the line can't be that. Oh, come on, man! Well, maybe next year, Warwick. Call me, guys. I want to check out your gear. Well, in a state of thorough depression, I set my sights on Hi-Fi and their new unveiled models. They're so dangerous, Super Dave Osborne wouldn't buy them. They're as deadly as a silent fart in a chili restaurant. Let's state the obvious. This is a bad idea. Exposed drivers lead to broken drivers. So I sat before the Sesfara unveiled with my poison pen at the ready to shred this headphone like Yngwie Malmsteen. $8,000, no grills? How did this even happen? Surely these things must suck.
A few moments later.
Oh my God, guys, these things are great. I wanted to hate the unveiled, but there's this euphoric sound from a crazy wide stage, deep bass, and easier to drive than a Manchester girl on a bank holiday. That one's for you UK folks. But these things were nothing short of brilliant. Remember, this was a show environment, and this Sesfara unveiled impressed the hell out of me. I hate myself for loving these things. At this point, I've developed a full and complete case of self-loathing. Hey, let's go check out the Utopia. FoCal had a bunch of standing islands set up, each surrounded by FoCal goodness. I wasn't really going to stop here, but an opening at the 2022 Utopia was too good to pass up. I jumped at it like a open porta potty at a beer festival. TMI? Okay, well, I had not listened to this headphone yet. I put them on, and they were having kind of network problems, though I did get through David Bowie track or two. And from what I heard, I really enjoyed the bass on the new Utopia. More presence than I recalled from the OG. They added some serious booty to this headphone, but that mid-range brightness, yeah, it's like high beams on a highway, guys. Admittedly, I am sensitive to that. But this is a solid improvement over the old, except in looks. The old Utopia was gorgeous. This new version looks like a rented dog from a pound, though they did at least retain that ominous red glow in the center. Tasty. One of my last stops in the big room was at the Fostex table. Now, there are two brand new models, both tangled up in blue. Killing me! They're both planar magnetic headphones. I'm getting punchy. Okay, Fostex has never done a flagship planar before. You have the closeback TH-1100 RP and the openback TH-1000 RP. I want some applause right now because I got those model numbers out of my mouth. All right, I'm thinking if they can give me the Fostex house sound, that insane thumping Beyonce bass. Yeah, no, guys, these things sound like any other planar in the $2,000 range. There's nothing that special about them. But I did want to drop some love on these, though, because the finishing process on these things is impressive as hell. These things are sea blue, and they're just mesmerizing to look at and enjoy to hold in your hands. These things are sexier than a cowgirl riding a jet ski, but they sound a lot better. But my next stop was sure to wipe my blues away, guys. Mecca awaits. I'm talking about the ZMF room, guys. A Taj Mahal oasis in the middle of an infidel nightmare. It's getting late, folks. Okay, but the ZMF room had a few highlights. First was the B21 Raider, that Ray Samuels powerhouse of a headphone amp I reviewed on this show. Now, Ray sent me a text during my live stream. You do know we live stream this hot mess every week, don't you? Well, he told us exclusively he was sending the B21 to CanJam SoCal. But I was after the new in the ZMF room, and that meant the Boca Openback. Now, this thing's not even on the market yet, but he had a few prototypes, so I saddled up to one and plugged it into an Homage amp. That's that vintage radio-looking desktop amp, and oh my. Zach has got another winner on his hands, guys. I thought this pairing, the Homage with the Boca Open, Oh, this would cost you right around $2,000 for the pair, and by the time I was done with this audition, I was thinking this would make an excellent one-and-done purchase. Well, two-and-done, technically. But the Bokeh Open is similar in sound to the Atrium, but it's good enough to stand on its own. It's kind of got the Atrium soul, though. Now, next to it was a gorgeous Cayin amp called the Soul 170HA KT170. Quite a mouthful. Okay, I got that one right too, though. I just call it the Soul because that's what it's going to cost you. It's $7,500, but after listening, yeah, it's probably worth it. Now, down the hall from ZMF, I had a prime target of my CanJam visit, the Raal Imanis. Yeah, I heard it, guys. A $10,500 headphone. Man, this hobby's getting expensive. But that tidy sum will get you a blinged out headphone that looks like it may have been designed by Louis Vuitton himself. And it's stuffed with 3 ribbon drivers per side. And the sound, guys, it's sublime. Wide stage, sparkling highs, sensational tune. I was smitten. But 2 things keep me from purchasing this masterpiece. Number 1, I'm broke. And if I came home with this thing, I'd be sleeping in the shed for the rest of my natural life. And 2, these things have no physicality. Like, there's impressive bass coming from the drivers, but it's like they're emitters, not drivers. They just kind of float the sound out here. There's no physical impact on your ears whatsoever. You don't feel any movement. And it's a little odd if I'm being truthful. I'm not sure I'd get used to that sensation or if I'd find it lacking over time. Either way, I'll never know. It is a fantastic product, top grade and one of the best of the day. All right, intermission, guys. We got to talk about my friend Neil Snyder. Dude is a riot. One of the funniest guys I've met, and he's got enthusiasm for days. Now, I'm standing in the main hall at the Noble table. They have their new Apollo that I'll be reviewing in the next episode. Looking like a 2-parter, guys. Anyway, they brought their new IEM. It's called the Chronicle. This is a 10-driver IEM flagship. It's still in prototype. 2 E-stats, 2 balanced armatures, 2 bone drivers, my favorites, and 2 dynamic bass drivers of 7 and 10 millimeters. What do they sound like? I don't know. Would you believe that the first guy who auditioned these at this show blew the bass driver out? Yeah, no one else got to listen to these things at the show. Anyway, Neil comes up to me and he grabs me by the arm and drags me across the show floor. He's very strong, that Neil, and he sits me down at the Forte ears table and insists that I listen to their new Macbeth. Fair is foul, foul is fair. Phenomenal sounding IEM, guys. 5 balanced armatures, 4 E-stats, 2 bone drivers, and a Sonyon bass driver. One of the best IEMs I've heard. Shall he dwindle, peak, and pine? I should have been an actor, guys. But then, disaster struck. Yeah, I knocked my camera off the table and it landed on the floor, lens first, breaking the mount. To be or not to be? Definitely not to be, and yeah, that's the wrong play. Embarrassment ensued. I felt like a guy who showed up at a pool party wearing only a Speedo. I slinked away in despair, my humiliation complete. I retreated to my car, where I did have a backup lens, a 110mm macro for you camera nerds, but I did capture the Meze Empyrean 2. This is a headphone that's a carbon copy of the previous Empyrean and the Elite, at least in shape, but in sound, in my opinion, it was quite a variation from the original, and I don't think it's a massive improvement. Now, keep in mind, I wasn't exactly in the best headspace at this point in the day. I was angrier than a cat on bath day for having broken my precious, but on the Empyrean 2, I thought the detail was better, and it gave a better image than the original than I recall, and there's a ton of bass down low that to me came off as bloomy, which is kind of that low resonance that muddies things up a bit. And they're a little on the bright side too. I didn't leave the table feeling like this is a headphone I must own. I think the Elite fits my taste better. Still, I think they're very worth a listen because I do love that Meze house sound. So CanJam was coming to a close. Now, Neil took pity on a group of us miscreants and treated everyone to dinner where we basically ridiculed each other for the insane amount of money we all spent in pursuit of that last 2% of fidelity. We came to the conclusion that we're all stupid people who love very expensive toys.
Wrap this damn show up.
So guys, that's my trek to CanJam SoCal 2024. I did have one major pickup. Ray Samuels offered to let me borrow his B21 Raider while I'm out of work. It's right there, guys. It's an amp that I will buy at some point, as soon as I stop being a slacker and get a job.
Loser.
I drove back to SoCal the next day to pick it up. I'm eternally grateful for the generosity. My missus came along, and she met some of you all, got to spend some time with Rodrigo from Audio 46. Overall, I had a pretty good year, even if I felt like a guy who went Lamborghini shopping in a rented Yugo. Now, next up, guys, we have a full review of this headphone right here. No Yugo at all. This is the Focus Apollo, so make sure you
like, and subscribe.
Thank you guys for coming on my CanJam journey. Give this episode a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or you can do the other thing if you can't stand another lame-ass metaphor. And I will see you before you know it.
People, can you show me the way to the direct garage? It ain't too far, no it isn't, no it isn't. But I've been searching and searching.